It's Dr. Amanda with StraightSmile Solutions, StraightSmileSolutions.com, and today we're going to talk about how to avoid getting screwed by retainer relapse. And forgive my candid title, but that's kind of how it feels to a lot of doctors. So you do this great job, you get great outcomes, and then it gets all messed up a few months to a year later. Now, when that happens, tensions can be high, and patients can often blame you, and it's really not. Sometimes it is your fault, and sometimes it's not. So it's important that you have the right foundation led so that you're not liable for this relapse. However, if you don't lay that foundation, you are liable for the relapse. So let's talk about some of the options. There's no one way. Orthodontists do this all different ways. So I'm going to throw out some of the options. I have a few templates in my store for a few ideas, and you can go to my store and purchase them. Otherwise, all of our documents are $20 each. Just contact me. If you are a concierge or VIP member, they are free. So just let me know, and I'll be glad to send you as many documents if you want, if you are one of our members of StraightSmile Solutions. So, of course, it starts off, first step, obviously you got to learn to finish the case ideally. Once you get a great outcome, you have to document that you got it, right? So the first thing I do before braces even come off is I have the patient sign, I call it a congratulations form or a statement of satisfaction. And it's basically like, wow, yay, congratulations, I am happy. It basically says that they're satisfied, they're happy, they like the outcome, they want their braces off, and they know they have to wear their retainers. That's all it is. It's a happy thing. It doesn't seem like it's a threat or anything like that. I have another version that's called an early debond form or a discontinuance for when we have to take them off early, patient's moving, patient has bad hygiene, patient requested them off early even though the bite isn't done. It's just a basic form. It just says, hey, we're stopping orthodontic treatment a little early. We didn't get the perfect perfect outcome. It's always great if you can list, what was done and what wasn't done too, to be specific. And I'm okay with that, and the patient signs that. So those are the two forms. It's always good to customize it if there's a one-off in there. And then, of course, you have to take a full set of orthodontic final records. This is very, very important. And a lot of times when braces are coming off, patients are like in a hurry. Like, I gotta go. Can't we do this next time? No. So the way it works in my office is I make it crystal clear that this is a part of the process. They don't get their retainers until the final records are taken. They sign the paperwork. So if the patient shows up and they're under 18 and they have no parent to sign off, then that's a no. We have to reschedule it. So, do not bend on the process, but make sure the patients know about the process at the beginning, because if you don't explain it, then they're not always prepared, right? So let them know that the debond appointment is going to be long and they're going to need to complete all the steps in order to get their retainers. Okay, so make sure you have good final records showing that everything is straight, as well as a final x-ray, okay, final panel. Once you've done that, you delivered your retainers. Of course, you need to have pretty much a bulletproof retainer compliance program as well. So how you want to warranty these is really up to you and your practice. There are offices, I'd say standard is usually warrantying for about 30 days. Do all ortho offices put this part in writing? No, they don't. And I don't even have a template for you, but I know people do, whether they say it verbally or there's signs posted or they throw it into a contract, they throw it into one of those forms. It's a good idea, It's very rare that a patient's going to try to toe the line on this and cause trouble. I only had the 30-day thing, written down in my practice. And beyond that, it was like, you have to wear your retainer for 6 months, full time. Beyond that, we're going to be phasing it down. That's going to be customized. You need to come to your retainer appointments. Required retainer appointments are at 1 month after debond, 3 months after debond, and 6 months after debond. If you miss the appointments, and or if you're non-compliant, I don't really say what's going to happen, but, it's not recommended. But certainly was always at my discretion whether or not we were going to retreat at less cost or at no cost. So it's really hard to box that up and put it into a document. But I do recommend that you have they need to attend their regular retainer appointments. You write out when they are. You might want to see them more than that they need to wear the retainers full time for at least 6 months. And after that, we will be phasing it down to nights, but I don't want them necessarily going from 6 months to nights, because for some people that's too sudden. Beyond that, how it's going to work, I mean, basically it depends on what type of retainers you gave them, right? If you gave them the Essex kind of retainer, I recommend if you're mostly doing Essex in your practice, you need to have a retainer warranty aftercare program, and I've got some documents for that. I've got some videos on that, but you can't just have one Essex for the rest of your life. And this is where a lot of doctors get themselves in trouble because they're like, oh, you got a retainer. Well, Essex don't last. On an average person, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, they start to get stretched out, over processed. And a lot of times if you're making in-house Essex, unless you're making it really well, it's really not working as a retainer. You're probably overcooking it, and it might be your fault that there's relapse. So for that reason, I actually, unless you have it down and you have a retainer warranty program in place, I really recommend that you outsource your retainers, either Viveras or some really, really good, thick, stable, well-trimmed retainers. Just because if you're not making it right, you could have relapse. So again, I've got a retainer aftercare warranty programs in terms of they buy in. So it's an additional revenue stream for your office. And I know this is a lot in one video, but basically the way it works is they can optionally sign up for this where they're going to pay a small subscription fee per year. It's usually somewhere between $50 and $100, maybe $200. And they're going to get either another set of retainers every year. They can come, get on demand, or they can have so many retainers per year replaced if they lose or break their retainers. So feel free to contact me for information on that. I'd be glad to send it to you. But you want to have a plan so that they're routinely replacing their Essex retainers. And that's something that, unless they've subscribed to the warranty to the program, it's going to be an additional fee. If they want to subscribe to the program, it can be for 5 years, for 10 years. They can pay up front at D-Bond, that's even better. And then they can stop by every year on their anniversary or as needed to pick up retainers. They just have to let you know. So that's for Essex. The thing about Essex that's nice is that I do also recommend that you take a photo in your final Essex retainer, or even in your final retainers in general, to show that they're stable, they were well made, and that they fit. Because if you do not take that photo, it's a he said, she said thing later. If they don't fit, then they're like, well, it never fit. That happens quite a lot. So, and then it's your word versus their word if you don't have anything to document it. So if you take a final photo in the Essex retainer showing that it fit like a glove, then later patient comes in, say 3 months later, and it's not fitting like a glove, well, guess what? It's on them because you have a document that showed that it fit. It doesn't just unfit itself. There's nothing to bend. So if it no longer fits like that, the patient wasn't wearing it full time. Remember, they're supposed to wear it full time for 6 months, and you're supposed to have a signature on that. So then that's that. Then that's the patient's responsibility for the relapse in that situation. That's one of the nice things about having the Essex retainer. And clearly, if they lost it, then that's a no-brainer as well, right? Or if it broke in half. So that's the great thing about the Essex retainer. And you can even place the Essex retainer over a bonded retainer. Now, as for bonded retainers, I've got tons of videos on how to manage those. Obviously, for bonded retainers, I've always recommended a clear-cut warranty program. 30 days makes sense. Some people do 90 days, where if it bends, breaks, or anything like that, you'll replace that at no charge up to that date. After that, it's a cost of X to repair or replace it. Or you can include it in a warranty program where there's no charge for that and they're paying yearly for that warranty program. Either way, clearly if it bends or breaks and there's relapse, that's on them unless it's within the first 30, 60, 90 days that you've put in the paperwork. So the breakage that happens here tends to be a lot more severe with the relapse. Things happen really fast. And to be honest, you just got to watch out, because if you're placing these and you're doing it by hand, these things can be active, depending on how you place it. So there's a little bit more. If there was ever a complaint made, if it was a bonded retainer, you're probably going to lose. Whereas in Essex, you're probably going to win. So just because it depends on if you purchased the bonded retainer from a lab and had it passively made and professionally made, maybe not. But if you're in-housing them, you're probably going to lose, because those can have all kinds of problems. And of course, there's regular Hawley retainers. That's how we did it in the olden days. These things last forever as long as they're nice, tight, and snug, but they don't protect against vertical movements, only rotational movements. So you can still have some settling with the bite. So anyways, I know that's a lot of information. I do have some documents. If you are a concierge member, I'm glad to give you a copy, or VIP member. If not, feel free to contact us. Take a look at our store. We don't have all of our documents in our store, but we have many of them. So, but our documents are $20 each. All right, thanks so much for non-members. Bye.